Welcome back. This is the From A to Z podcast. I'm your host, PK Mukweni. Today we're joined by a special talent, somebody who, when she walks in a room, she doesn't have to announce it. Her energy just flows. She has a bachelor in fine arts and she's currently a conceptual copywriter at Clockwork. We're going to find out all about that and all of the awesome brands she's worked on and business she's won for all of the companies she's worked for. We'll find out all about that and more. But without further ado, let me introduce to you, Nosipo China Maseko. Welcome, China.
Yay! Thank you for having me, PK.
For sure. Now, the name of the show is From A to Z. We're going to talk about the beginning, how you found advertising, what you're working on now, and the future. Are you ready to go from A to Z?
You know what? Let's do it.
Let's go. So I know you're Boksburg born and bred.
Yes, Bozy origination.
For sure. East Rand.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about your upbringing.
Wild upbringing, but grateful for that upbringing. Literally, I feel like whenever people ask me about Bozy, I think that like when they were thinking about Rainbow Nation, they were thinking about like a Boksburg, but as we know, those things aren't like real. The Rainbow Nation isn't real. We're trying to get there. Don't want to be pessimistic, but it is a real thing. So definitely was exposed to all kinds of people, added to my experience as a person. It's the things that I draw from in terms of like my insights and stuff. So Boksburg really did raise your girl.
Right.
Yeah. So really, proud to be from Bozy, even though that's life. You learn the good, the bad, and unafraid to say that I learned racism there in Boksburg.
Yeah, I can imagine just driving through there. It's kind of like But let's talk about the positive stuff. So it also added to you because you were around a lot of different types of people. Literally. And as a creative, that different worldview obviously is very valuable. So tell us about China in primary school. Tell us about China in primary school. What were you getting up to? What kind of girl were you? I can see how you giggling. Were you a naughty little girl? Talk to me about it.
Literally, funny story about that. The first thing I thought of when you asked me that was whenever people ask me about my journey through fine art. Initially, my mom wanted me to do chemical engineering. Wow. But then I decided on fine arts. And you know, although I know that she wanted me to go for the chemical engineering because it's almost like show money, because obviously that's what parents want.
You're an engineer, yes. Or a doctor, or a lawyer.
Yes, it said you're an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, or a failure.
Yeah. Word.
So literally that's what she wanted for me. And then I chose arts and I thought I'd get like, that backlash of what the hell are you doing? But she was like, my child, I can't complain. Literally, if you look under the kitchen table, it's your fucking drawings there. So it's one of those things like she could see it from really early that was something that I was really into.
From like primary school, basically. You know what I used to do in primary school? My mom used to buy like those paper plates, and I used to draw monsters on them. And we used to go through so many paper plates during the school holidays. And you know that pain you feel the first time you realize where the stash of your stuff is. Like, is this where you keep my stuff? But anyways, yeah.
And it's cute that they keep that shit.
Right, at least. It's not on the wall, but it's there. But tell us about, that's that love for art early on.
Literally. So she just reminded me that I've always been that person. Because, when you do get older, you do try and figure out who you're going to be for the rest of your life. But also trying to negate that with making 6-year-old you happy. So having those conversations with my mom, I realized I am making 6-year-old me happy because she also reminded me that I used to cut up her clothes to make new clothes.
Sure. and like what age is that?
So this, I'm going to say early primary school, between grade 1 and 3, because that was when she was teaching me the different stitchings and things like that, because she wanted me to be able to fix my own buttons and things like that, so she wouldn't have to do it. So then with the little that she told me, I was like, okay, let me do this. And literally, I remember the first thing I ever made was a boob tube, because that's so easy.
Oh yeah, it's one piece.
So literally, because I was tiny, my mom had what I took to make that thing was this tights that you wore only to clean. So I was like, you know what, I can use it. So I took it was like bell bottom type, so it flares out by the leg. So that bottom part, I took and made a boob tube.
Hey, you were exploring your talent early on, eh? I mean,
literally.
Yeah. So then after primary. Let's move towards high school. What were you like in high school, where you obviously focused on your art subjects and such?
You know what? When I think about happy memories of high school, it's never in the classroom. I was
On the stage or on the field?
hectic extramurals. That was me. This is where I'm winning, the extramural activities. So netball, hockey, definitely drama. Drama. Also, yeah, actually, good. You just remind me. It just came back to me that I think that was my first bout of trying out creative writing for the purpose not to get classed on it, but for the purpose of people seeing what I've written. So I just remember that when I was in matric, I wrote the school play because we had 4 houses.
Wow.
So for my house, I wrote the play. I just remembered.
Was it like an original play? It wasn't like a Macbeth?
We all had to write.
Wow. Oh, and then it's one person wins. Wow.
So yeah, and my team didn't win. Boo.
So you wrote it, you acted it out, but you didn't win.
Yeah.
And that taught you failure early on, I guess, right?
Yeah. Oh, it taught me that teachers don't know everything.
Word.
Because the teachers are the ones that chose the win. Okay.
Word. So then what about a bit after, coming towards the end of matric? You mentioned that it wasn't really an expectation for you to be a scientist or anything. They kind of knew you were going the art route. But making that actual decision...
I don't think they knew I was going there.
Or they were hoping...
Yes. Because I think it's one of those things of... Not all the subjects that you're good at, you enjoy.
100%, yeah.
And it was one of those things, although I was really, really good at chemistry, I wasn't feeling that shit. I was just trying to do that for the rest of my life. Just the thought of going to my first maths class in varsity, kill me. Anybody trying to do maths for the rest of their life.
I always tell the story. I always tell the story in grade 9 or after grade 9, you choose your subjects, blah, blah, blah. Accounting was something I was far from, okay? Then I get to management, was a 2B or something, or the second year, and then I'm within accounting. And I'm like, guys, I didn't sign up for this, but we made it work. Go ahead.
Literally that. So although I was really good at chemistry, I wasn't feeling that at all. So it was one of those because of the conversations that we have at home, Guti, we are struggling here. You need to make sure, Uguti, what we have given you, you do times 10.
Yes.
Because we got you here, you must do times 10. So it almost seems like this is the obvious route. I mean, come on. But luckily, it all worked out.
Word. You hear? And you chose to study fine art. Yes. Tell us about that. You arrive on campus, big eyes, woo!
Okay, so that was... I think that was the first time I realized how with creativity, it really all is up to you. Because the entry test, I remember... I got there late.
It happens it always happens at the worst times. I'm never late, but for things like an interview, for this one here, always. It's the important stuff. Bro, sorry, but we try. Go ahead.
Shit, you're right. So literally, for you to be able to choose, I went to Val University of Technology. So I think I was a good 3 days late.
Sure.
So I found the drawing lecturer. Now he was in his office and he's also the HOD. I found him in there, he's busy working. And I was like, hi, I want to do fine arts. And then he was like, you're late. And I'm like, literally he could see the tears welling up in my eyes of oh my God, don't do this to me. Ain't nobody trying to do chemical engineering.
I need this.
You better do something, homie. And he was like, okay, no, it's fine. I still got the live center set up. So you can just go into that class over there. You'll see a paper and a pencil. Draw what you see. I was like, okay.
Sure.
And mind you, when I was at school, I didn't do fine arts. I did design.
You didn't do any still lifes and Apple. I remember doing it. Yeah.
That's it. Because in my head, for me, that was more palpable for my parents because it's design. It feels, So, but I really wanted to do art. But then I decided to do it to do graphic design. My ancestors are gonna take me back there.
Yeah, it works like that.
So literally got in there. Literally, it's this huge table, like a dining room table, those kind of long type ones, and there's just random shit on the table, homie. There's fruit, there's flowers, there's some pottery stuff, just random shit. And then he was like, yeah, just pick one of the seats because there's seats all around. He's like, pick a seat, find your viewfinder and draw what you see. Literally. And he was like, you've got an hour. And you know, design and art test, the end of the year test was always like 6 hours. He's like, you got an hour. Draw something and you'll find me in my office. This is shaking. Then I finished it and I looked at it, I was like, girl, you got this. Fuck that shit, you got this.
So it actually was something beautiful.
Yes, it was. I picked the easiest thing that I could find there. I was like, okay, Apula, let's start there and then we'll build around. And literally got through it. After an hour, went to him, showed it to him. He took his glasses off, he looked at it. Then he just gave me paper. He was like, fill these out.
Nice. Shout him out. What's his name?
Velapi. Hi. I think he's still at VET. Hi. You did the thing, sir. Love you. Bye.
Thank you, Velapi. Thank you very much for giving her a chance. You're obviously a chance taker. Is that a theme in your life? Like you go for it?
Yes. I've got a new saying. You know how people always say you gotta have some balls?
Yeah.
No, you gotta have a clit.
Word.
You gotta have a clit. What's harder than being a woman? Come on.
No,
so
it's real. It's real.
You gotta have a clit. So I try to have a clit in every situation.
Yeah. Yo, you might actually normalize that saying now because everywhere you go, they say, hey, but have your ball, use some balls, use your balls, be a man.
Exactly.
We normalizing. Put it right there. We normalizing right here.
Literally, and I also think it's got a little bit of a deeper meaning because you know how half of the population doesn't know where the clit is, so you gotta find the clit to be the clit.
She's an artist, guys. She's dropping new balls on us that have not been dropped yet. But let's.
No, can we cut this part out for when I show my mom?
Alright, cool.
Okay.
Not. I'm just joking. If you really want to, but it is a safe space. Your mom knows you. Your mom knows you. Trust me.
She knows.
So then you get in. Mr. Villapi lets you. He gives you your chance. You take it and you ace it, and you in VUT. What was your college experience like? Were you a party animal? Were you focused on your books? What was that like?
Yeah, VUT for me was the school of life. It was the school of life, similar to how high school was, where most of what I learned was not in the classroom. Definitely, yes, for what I need practically, yes, I learned in the classroom, but definitely that was the school of life. You know how they say that you never really leave high school? Yeah, I got a taste of that in varsity.
In what way? No, I left when I left high school. I left it clean. I won't even lie to you.
So when people say that, when they say that you never really leave high school, they're talking about like how relationships are, how fickle they may be, how people can change on you, or how situations just happen out of nowhere, and how like one thing will spiral other things. And the fact that there's no mommy and daddy there, that's why it's the school of life. You must figure it out. Yeah. So I learned a lot in my first 2 years there. Figured out my sexuality. #bisexual. Hey.
Word.
Yeah. Also, like, what a crazy time, and also embarrassed about this, but I was like hella woke when I was involved.
Were you a fighter?
No. Okay. I was so because I studied fine arts.
By fighter, I mean active in the student politics, not a fight like beating girls' butts.
No, because I have a cousin who was very integral in apartheid and that freedom fight. And I remember the conversations that I would always have with my mom about it. My mom would always say, Nana, find a different way to serve the cause. Because what are you helping if you're serving the cause and there's a potential for you to die while trying to do that? Now you've lived your whole family. Now we are perpetually crying for you every time it's Freedom Day, every time these South African, because all of the South African holidays, if you look at them, most of them have to do with our past. Now we're reminded every time those holidays come through, you sacrificed us for the rest of South Africa. So you need be a freedom fighter, but find a way to do it in safety.
So you did it with your art.
Talk about it.
Boom.
So literally, to be an artist and to finish your bachelor's, you need to write a dissertation that feeds into the work that you're making. And so the concept that I chose to do my third year and my BTech through was the scale of blackness. That's what I called it. So basically looking at black representation in the media. And I think that's what took me into this woke wormhole, because you start to realize, because obviously I have to do a lot of research, you start to realize that what we learned at school was just like, I can't even say scratching the surface, bro. I can't even say scratching the surface. Like, it kind of like, it's also like a mix of anger and embarrassment that I didn't know. That anger, that why wasn't I taught this before I got to this stage? Why did I have to study fine art for me to learn about myself as a black person? I think that's why people, I'm so understanding of the mindset that woke people are at, because when you think about a woke person, you don't think about somebody you can have a conversation with, because it's like always like a fight of like, you should be doing better type of thing. I get where that place is. You don't know what to do with the information you're learning.
Yeah.
You don't know
what's
what
the
to
outlet?
do. You don't know what to do. And luckily I had the outlet of my writing.
Yes.
And being able to find different sources and figure out what is the scale of blackness. Because I remember the first thing I wrote in the opening of it was, when I say scale, it's something like, you're pretty for a black girl. So I'm pretty on the scale, I'm pretty enough. I'm just black enough. Or why are you so loud? So I'm too black now in this situation. You're too black. Or for the fact that my nickname is China, we are glorifying the things about me that are not black. So that's why woke people are in the space that they're in, is because the information is so overwhelming.
And it can take over your everything and could cause some hate and cause harm, more harm than positive.
That part.
So I'm happy that you figured out a way to beat the super wokeness and take your, what you learned and culminate and do something with it. So talk to me about after VUT, after you graduate.
Yeah.
Cool, boom, you're done with that. Then I know you went to Umuzi Academy to get a qualification in advertising.
Yes.
So you obviously had a plan. You knew, okay, I have to study art and then I have to do this and then I have to +1+1+2, boom.
You know what? I would love to say that this was me. I'm the one that had the plan and I'm following the plan and it's working out. No, it wasn't that simple. I'm going to be honest. So obviously, being a naive young person, I assumed that because I study the thing that I'm passionate about, it's going to be easy for me to win outside in the world. But unfortunately, not just art, but I think creatives in general.
Talk to me about it.
Unfortunately, you need a network. Unfortunately.
As a creative.
Unfortunately.
I mean, as a person, to be honest, you need some sort of something.
I feel like with Tina, it's harder than hard. I feel like if I'm looking at like my other friends who are like in finance and things like that, you just gotta be dope.
Yeah.
And somebody is going to come for you because also the BE score, they trying to get us now. So I feel like for them, it's a little bit easier. But I've noticed like with us, you need to almost have a family that you can go to and get those resources from for you to be that person. And also for you to get, quote unquote, the fame, you also need those people talking about you.
Yeah.
Like in art.
Yeah.
You need certain galleries to be like, I want her. And if I look at like the people that I graduated with, Abelungu were fine because they already had the connections before they even started varsity. Me, I was like, I'm just gonna do pretty pictures and then they're gonna love me. And it's like, girl, no.
You realize, so how far down the line did you realize like, no, there's something has to give, I need to add something to my toolbox in order to make it?
2 months in. 2 months after the gown and the Instagram of the graduation. 2 months after that, because now I'm back at home. You're in a situation where you are somebody's child again. You are an adult there alone. Now you're somebody's
child, opening the fridge, doing your
asking for money. What do you want this 50 rand for?
Exactly.
What do you want this 50 rand for, man? Yeah, you can't be like, yo, from saying
Exactly.
You can't do that anymore. And so it was I was being pushed basically by the fact that my mom is like, dude, you went to school for 5 years. Where is that job? Type of thing. And then for parents, it's like, I don't care what you study, get a job, any job. You need to make money. You're done with school, type of thing.
Yeah.
Then, so it was the stress of that. And then also, I was lucky enough after varsity to be part of the Turbine Art Fair. I'm not sure what they call it now. I know they changed the name. But I was the excitement of, yes, because I'm dope, obviously I got into this. But then the realization of, oh my God, I'm only going to get paid at the exhibition in 7 months.
Sure. So you have to do a bunch of work.
Literally.
And then... Sure.
So then I was like, oh my God, girl, you didn't think about this. And I was like, you know what, all of those pressures, I can't sell out and just get any job. It has to be creative.
Yeah.
I cannot sell out. I did your whole fine art and did the scale of blackness, and now I'm just gonna go do something random? Nah. So literally the Google, Mark Zuckerberg, whoever was listening to me, because I was on Facebook one day, saw Umuzi's ad. I was like, fuck it, let me do it. Went in, I assumed that when I did the test, it would throw me in graphic design. It didn't. It threw me in copywriting. Wasn't mad at that, obviously, because of my last year in varsity, having to do a dissertation, having to think about all these things. And also...
Words.
Literally. And also for the fact that, like, when you're exhibiting, you aren't always in front of every piece. People are reading that blurb. That blurb is going to sell that artwork. So you better speak some shit on that blurb.
Word.
Right? So I was like, okay, let's do it. You know, and also the fact that it's a paid learnership, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be getting something in my pocket.
Stipend, hey, that stipend used to hit. I ain't even going to lie to you. That stipend, when you were getting nothing, that stipend, guys. Yeah.
It felt so good in virtue of, like, also, like, I love that Umuzi was doing that. Because when you're unemployed, you do feel worthless.
Yeah, yeah.
And for the fact that you're paying
sets
me just to learn, I think there's a level of self-worth. And I see it with, like, the different people that I wasn't at Umuzi with, but went through Umuzi. I feel the same kind of confidence from them of, like, they know themselves.
So the program is, you think it's a good program? So shout out to Umuzi.
Shout out, baby. Yeah, like, shout out. I know, like, with any organization, not everybody is going to have the same experience, but I don't want to lie, my experience was amazing.
Yeah.
And the fact that they let my experience be my experience, like, Umuzi has a certain way that they do things. You have to go through certain phases before you go to the work experience. They cut that shit for me. They were like, dude, hey, Joe Public wants you, so you can half here.
So I was gonna get into that, and that's actually where we met. So you walked into Joe Public as a, it was a learnership, internship? What was an intern? But you were still at Umuzi, doing or finishing the course, basically.
Yes.
Talk to us about that, walking into the big agency world. What was that like?
You know what? Like, I'm actually having this conversation with Mark, my creative director right now. So, no, not creative director, BUD, sorry. About the importance of young people in an agency.
Yes.
Ain't nobody hungrier. There's nobody hungrier. And I always think back to who I was when I started at Joe Public. I even cringed to think about the things that I was doing. I was like, oh my God, I was like so confident. And then where did it come from? I was nobody.
I'll tell you this much. I remember seeing you walk in. I'm like, you cool. At first you were quiet, but then boom, as soon as you got comfortable, boom, it's China in the room. It's China. Like, that's why I said in the intro, like, she hardly has to say anything, but she's there, like the presence. Whether it's the hair, but China has that presence. So yeah, tell us a bit about that experience and what did you take from it?
So that's why I gotta give props to Umuzi, especially Roizen Comfort, like the conversations that she had with us while we were at Umuzi. So we'd be like doing the work, then in between she'd be like, guys, I wanna say something. And she would just spit fire. And I remember one of the conversations that she had with us was this conversation about holding space.
Yes. Go speak on it, please speak on it.
You don't necessarily need to be saying anything in order to hold space. It's the same thing as, like, because I'm always late. Oh my God, I'm working on it. So, like, for example, like, you know how Joe had the Joe Muse?
Yeah.
Homie, outstays come late. And in the situation where, like, you're always late for something, you want to, like, stand in the back of the room, not disturb anything. I'm Dase. I will drag a chair and come, I want to sit here where the things are happening. That's holding space. It's one of those, sing figgy. Yes, I was like, sing figgy, and I'm a part of it. I'm not going to be there in the back, although I was late. I'm here now, and I'm going to be present, and I'm going to add value. So that's so important of like, I think every young person should do that. It doesn't matter who you are right now. You know who you're trying to be.
Yeah.
That's what's important.
Chase
who
that.
Who you trying to be.
Yeah, chase
be that. Be that motherfucker until you're that motherfucker.
Exactly.
Literally.
Straight up.
And so I think I started with that at Joe Public. And obviously, like, the people at Joe Public also awesome. Like, Megan Perks. Dude, my ECD there. She's so amazing, dude. Like, such an amazing person where it's like, she's always going to find a way to make me feel comfortable and make me feel like my ideas are being heard, even though I'm so fucking wild. You know, it's like she's gonna find that nugget of brilliance in the wild
thing there.
Yes, and you know, like having people like that who are making you feel comfortable, like. That's why Joe Public stays winning, because they give people those opportunities. So literally when I started at Joe Public, it was a year-long internship contract. And I got there, I was like, that ain't gonna be me. Ain't nobody gonna be an intern for a year. The fuck? I'm broke.
You want to fast track this shit? I need my money.
I'm broke. So I literally just, I scanned the room and I saw the people where I was like, okay, you look like you're somebody who likes proactive work. Let me talk to you. And the person that I spoke to was Mbongeni. And Mbongeni he was working on the Jet team, the team that I was on. And I was like, dude, what are you guys busy with right now? What's coming up that I can be proactive on so that like when Strat comes through, I say I've got ideas. Wow, you know? So literally Mbongani helped me out with that. I came up with something. When Strat presented, after they were done, I presented. And obviously the way that we're taught at Umuzi, you're taught to also think strategically also. So funny enough, my strat was the same as theirs. Come through.
Okay.
So literally my boss was like,
I see you.
I'm putting you on this job.
I see what you're doing.
What's up?
Okay.
So literally 2 months into Joe Public, I talked to her. I'm like, babes, you can see what I'm doing.
There's a potential.
I ain't trying to be here for a year.
Yeah,
I said, go look for a job, or you're gonna give me this offer. She's like, nah, I'm giving you this offer. I was like, yeah.
That's dope. So,
and that's also a part of it. Like, don't wait just because your contract says 1 year.
Yeah. Obviously, but also you have to put that work in. There's being confident, and then there's actually putting that work out and showing your quality.
That's the proof,
you know.
Yeah, exactly. That's the proof in the pudding. You gotta do that.
And while you were there at Joe Public, you actually got your hands on two things that that they missed me, and they continued to elude me for a couple of years. It was these two wonderful awards. One was Social Wiz Award at the New Gen, and the Best Digital Youngster at the Bookmark Award. So I was nominated for both of those motherfuckers, different years and shit, and I never got it. Which I won't even lie, it irks me. But I understand that that's not where things end, you know. And to all of the people out there, if you know, something doesn't end there, guys. There's still more to come. True. You know, there's still a lot, and yeah, I feel like I went on to do okay. But when you won that, what was that like?
No, I'm gonna be honest. Nah, New Gen.
The first one in 2018.
Yeah. 2019. It was 2019. So with New Gen, did the entry, got Megs to help me. Like one thing that I really did love about those two entries was Megan told me to not look at what the previous winners did. Because if you remember the year before that, Pume won them. And then obviously people are like, no, just take what Pume did and then just input your work into it. She was like, don't do that. Don't do that. Restart it and then we'll work it and see what's missing. And I think that's really where it was, because I think the thing that's different about me as a writer is my voice, the way in which I choose to speak about things. And so I think that's really what made me win. I think that from beginning to end, the entry was funny. Although I'm showing you my work, within it, I'm putting my voice in it to sell it to you. Yeah. And I think that's why, because Because, you know, Joe Public is a cult, right? So obviously, if there's somebody from Joe Public and they're like, girl, I'm trying to enter this thing, can you send me that thing? Literally, all of them have won. Since me.
I didn't. I think I'm the...
You didn't ask me for that. You didn't ask me for the end.
I'm not going to lie. And that's also kind of what irks me, is because all my peeps won it. And I'm like, guys, but wait. Man. What about me? But also, like I said, I took the L. I took the L and I kept on pushing.
Sure.
Young people out there, once again, I'll say, just keep it pushing. Yours will come.
Literally. Yeah, so after me, with bookmarks, after me it was Shanae, also from Joe Public. Literally, so you can tell that, like, because it stayed in Joe Public, we had the ability to finesse it within Joe Public, which I think is such a dope thing. That's why I could never hate on Joe Public, man. I see what they've done in my life.
But then that journey had to come to an end, and that's now you are a conceptual copywriter here at Clockwork. Tell us about that change and why it had to come about. I mean, there's always different brands coming in and out the door and opportunities, but yeah, why the change? Why the move?
So honestly, the change was brought on by what COVID did to our industry, basically. The main brand that I was working on while at Joe Public was Jets, and Itcon took such a knock during COVID, and so unfortunately they couldn't keep us, understandably. But then we were lucky enough to win. Cell C was working on that. That was some soul draining stuff. Look, shout out to Cell C, but I wasn't the right writer for that. I don't think that there was a lot of conceptual and creative opportunity because of the nature of the business. And it's not their fault. It's just that the place, the brand wasn't working for me anymore. I wasn't excited.
For you, it wasn't about the brand.
Not at all.
This is a caveat. Everybody watching from South Sea, you can still sponsor this if you want.
Okay.
It wasn't about y'all. It was about her. Go ahead.
Yeah. Amazing team at South Sea. It was literally about me. The fact that I wasn't happy anymore. Getting up. And that's when you need to leave, because then it's going to change your mind about the place that you're at. And I love Joe Public, so I didn't want to have my mind changed about Joe Public because I still love that place, but I got to go. And also in that journey of looking for a new place, I don't know, there was a part of me that was not trying to go to another big agency, because I came from number one. Like, what am I going to do at another big agency? Yeah, so I didn't want to get into a place where I felt like I was just repeating my life in different places. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try look for other things, right? So interviewed at a lot of different places, but what caught my eye about Clockwork was, I think they haven't learned a lot of, I'm just going to say it, the toxicity of advertising, because the leaders don't come from an advertising background. They don't.
They're writers, they're journalists. Yeah. Shout out to Tom and Nick.
Yeah. Like, they don't come from that, and you can feel it in the way that the culture is over here. I ain't trying to leave. I'm so happy. Like, the fact that I went from having a brand where I felt like just one brand that I felt like I'm not really happy here, to hey, we're pitching every 2 weeks.
So you're active. You're using the muscle.
In your diary, 5 minutes. Kickstarts. And like, although like anxiety, that's what I wanted. Like, my brain is on fire. That's what I wanted, because I felt like I was so bored. So I'm getting exactly what I wanted. Like, brain work. Like, when people ask me about Clockwork, I'm like, it's Monday, Tuesday, Friday. Like, the week just goes.
There's always
It's so quick. It's like, and that's feeling good, because when the weekend comes, you're like, I deserve this. Because like, I worked. I really worked. And like, also the leaders that I work specifically with here, Mark De La Cuera, as well as Tom Manners, like, I haven't been in a situation like that where I'm working so closely with the leaders of a company, where like Tom is there, like, especially with like pitches, although I did a few at Joe Public, like the way he's so involved in pitches, and also like the honesty. They took the good parts of advertising, left out the shitty parts of advertising. Like, they kept the honesty. Like, I'm okay with being told China shit. Knowing that when I come with some dope shit, everybody's gonna be like, Like, I'm really happy in the space that I'm in right now. And also, like, we're really starting to get in with like the proactive stuff, because the reason why I came is because I knew that the homies were trying to be pitching, but now they're going into a phase of now trying to turn all that stuff that we've been pitching and won into some award-winning shit.
Talk to me about your pitch. How do you crack that pitch? Because it's not like a normal brief, like, hey, we need to make awareness or do this and this for that. It's a whole bunch of business that you are pitching in on. What is your secret for your part as the conceptual copywriter? How do you make sure you crack it?
How do I make sure I crack it? I think the first thing is keep yourself honest. Because I know, like, with a lot of creators, while you're ideating and brainstorming, you're already in your head like, that's right. Like, keeping yourself honest is getting all of that stuff out, because you don't know what's going to come from that weird stuff. Like, I'm not going to mention the pitch because we didn't win it, boo. But there was this pitch that we were working on where, like, we had some crazy stuff in there, and I think that's the reason why we didn't win the pitch, because it was just so new.
You try to really take it there. Yeah.
Me, I also understand as the client, I'd also be like, but that's the kind of work that we're trying to do as creatives, and I think it's a good thing for companies to align with brands that feel the same way.
Yeah.
Because there's no point in us pitching for you, but you're gonna get here and it's back to normal programming.
Yeah.
Why didn't you stay there where you were at? Why are you calling us to come and pitch? Leave us alone.
Yeah.
We were fine.
Yeah.
Literally.
So basically, it's staying honest with yourself.
Because literally, I don't think that if I was in a different agency, we would have gone in with the things that we pitched in. But because someone was like, fuck it. We went
Let's go.
in there with it. And although we lost it, literally we're all like, their loss. Their loss. There's gonna be the brand that sees it.
Yes.
Because that stuff was hard. That's what I'm not even gonna say. So that those people don't be like, actually, let's go back to that presentation. Yeah, definitely. So I'm really loving like the way of working and the openness of everything here. Like, because of my personality, I always sometimes feel like I need to cut it, not all of it, China. Filter this. It's a lot now. It's too salty. I've never felt that here. I've never felt that. I've always...
nobody's trying to shut you down. No.
It's one of those...
It's not that type of culture,
like, why are you trying to say anything? China, do you have anything to say? So I was, why are you quiet? Is there something wrong? Type of thing. And I love that like, they're always open to hear what I'm saying, whether it's good or bad. Yeah. Because I'm going to be honest about it, though. Yeah. So it's worth it. So I'm really, really digging that I can be that person,
Dope. Next segment, let's get into the segment. It's called All Up in Your Business. So I went to your social medias, picked up a couple of things, one or two things that I am going to show you. And if you can tell me a story behind it, give us context, what's happening and all of that.
The rubbish that I do. I put on my Instagram. Which one did you go on Instagram or the ratchet one?
Both. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. It's wholesome. It's a safe space.
You must have a ratchet Instagram and then the one that you can put on the portfolio.
Don't worry. It's a safe space. Okay. So first one. My battery is going to die, so let's do this. Your Umuzi graduation. Taking a selfie there. And you're saying, what's next?
Yeah.
2019.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the feeling there. I think we spoke about the feeling after you graduated, but in that moment... Talk to us about that.
Yeah, that's where I grew the clit, fam. This is where I grew the clit, fam. Because, so like I said, like I was half within Umuzi, but at Joe Public. But so when we graduated, I was fully within.
So you were already kind of like big dog. They're like, yeah, you feel me?
Yeah. So now that I had the paperwork, that Monday when I went to work, I was like, yeah. Add
this to my file.
Nifuna. Saying copywriter, literally, like, I think. Yeah, that's a qualification does do that for you. But the problem in South Africa is that when you get the qualification, but then the reward doesn't come, that's what makes you depressed. Unfortunately. Yeah. So it was only that moment because I had the job. I'm at my dream job while I'm graduating. Yeah. So that's really where that came from. And also so happy because I'm not a fan of school. Ain't nobody doing that again.
No, bro.
I'm gay.
I don't want to say never, but ish.
I have decided, and the only time I'm going to be thinking about school again is when I'm helping my children with their maths. But
I said, if I give you 2 apples and you add...
and then when I can't figure it out, also I'm going to say, hey, Mdanam, attend you
Once.
Literally, I'm not going back to school.
Dope. Next one. Word. Next one. I think, this was also while you were at Joe. It's and obviously showing your confidence. You here at a photo shoot. Caption is Marang Muhle San.
Yeah.
Talk to us about this. The confidence. Where's this confidence from? Is it bred into you from at home?
Yes.
Did they tell you, Mtanam?
Yes.
Don't worry about what they say. Talk to us about it.
Obviously, great thing. My dad would always, you know how they say, like, as a guy, your first girlfriend is your mom. As a woman, your first boyfriend is your dad. Yeah, my first boyfriend was everything. It was everything.
Yeah.
Very involved in my life. I think I got my personality from him. Definitely.
Dope.
Very, no filter. Fuck that shit.
Extroverted.
We're going to the manager.
at the restaurant.
He's the black guy that's calling the manager. What shit is this? Yeah, he's the black guy going to the manager. I don't like your service.
Nice.
Is this what Mandela fought for? He's that guy.
Dope.
So I got that part from him. And then the freedom fighter part, definitely from my mom, because her family was very involved in the freedom fights. And my mom, fun fact, but not fun fact, fucked up fact, my mom was arrested by the apartheid police for the ntsumpa that she has on her face, because there was somebody that they were investigating that also had a ntsumpa and on her face. And I think that like changed her. It was like, oh, this is y'all.
Are people, ntsumpa a mole?
Yes, a mole.
A mole. Yeah.
Yes. So my mom has this really beautiful mole on the side of her face, and literally because of that mole, she was put into jail.
Sure.
And I think her sitting in that jail cell, she was like, oh hell, type of thing. And so that fighter mentality just definitely, I think, got it from her, and also her having lost her niece. So my gran had a lot of children. That's why I have a cousin that was in apartheid.
Yeah, I didn't even want to get into, but go ahead.
So my mom had my grandmother had gang children. So literally one of my oldest cousins is in her late 40s right now. So a lot of family members. So always as a family have those conversations about apartheid, about the journey forward. What is it that we can do in our little lives to make a big difference? Because as black people, we should be having those conversations.
Yeah.
It's like even in this space that we're in, as the black people in Clockwork, we always have these conversations about what are we doing within the space that we're in, because we have so many people looking at us and listening to us through the brands that we work for. So it's also, that's why stay honest is so important, because if you're staying honest, that means the brands that are with you are on board with where you're at. And if you want to do these things that actually help the country, they're like, how much do you need?
Next one. Beautiful picture. It says, caption is not a costume, but a culture. It's a picture of her in Xhosa garb.
Okay.
Posing in a wicker chair of some sort. Tell us about this. Where were you? What was happening?
Yes, so Heritage Day, it was Heritage Day at Joe Public. Obviously, most of us, when it's Heritage Day, it's your opportunity to don your garb, your African garb, and give back to you. And it's always like really awkward when like a lot of our South African holidays come along, especially in our industry. It almost feels like what Americans have done with Christmas. It's like, it's got nothing to do with nothing except for selling, right? And so, I was really, really thinking about that. And then the fact that, like, apart from this day, what is it that I'm doing? What is it that I'm doing? Also the fact that, like, my mom is Xhosa, my father's Swati, but both of them hella Joburg people. Literally, like my father, although Swati, grew up in Jozi and only spoke Iskasi, basically. Literally, so I didn't know his language. But then that's why I speak predominantly is Xhosa, because most Xhosa people, wherever they are, they're still going to be fluent with their language. So like these different cultures that make me, and it's like, what does that bring to me other than when I'm filling out a form that's asking me about it? Like, other than when the brief says, let's localize it, you know?
At least they asking you to localize, not just saying, hey, put this out as is.
But let's find better ways than let's localize it.
Yes, no,
that doesn't mean
100%,
anything.
Yes. Let's do our own
that
thing.
doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
But like, what am I doing with all of that? And I think I'm so glad that you chose that picture, because a few months after that is when me and the team came up with that Gynecod campaign that came through winning, about language, about the importance of it. Like, the fact that like it's so hard for us to speak to Black women about their sexuality, rape, things like that, because a lot of us, even our moms, didn't really say the word for those things. It's iminiza, inunduza. You know, they're giving it like a cute name. So now it's hard when you're a grown adult and you've been raped and you're being asked to describe what happened to you. It makes it hard. So like, it's important for us in the space that we're in. Think about the things that you're thinking about, but do something in the work.
Yeah.
So I had the opportunity to solve that internal thing.
That was a hell of an insight. And like you said, that's the type of stuff that wins. It's real, it's relatable, and that's why it won so many awards.
But also, I'm going through a phase. I'm gonna be honest. I'm going through a phase of like, I think it's a phase of insecurity, of realizing, looking back at like the work that I've done, it's really, really Black. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm conscious of the fact that I want to be a global writer. I don't want to be a South African writer.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a fighter writer.
Right. So I'm thinking in my head, like, if one of these companies overseas is looking at the profile, then I'm like, this is blackity black. Okay, it's amazing, but I don't understand what's going on. You know, so that's also something that I'm trying to work on now, is to try find global insights into my work, because it is comfortable, it is easy to do the Black insights, because we've also got so much work to do there in that. But it's a little bit of an insecurity in my brain of like, okay, go, you got to do some global work. Yeah.
On to the next one. This is dope. So I mean, you are a fine artist, bona fide. Had a look at a couple of your images and artworks. Tell us about your art style and these couple of pictures tell us about one of them. And tell us about your art style and your inspiration.
Okay, so just to take it back to the concept, the scale of Blackness now. So I had to figure out like how am I gonna show this? Because obviously it is a female skew on this form of Blackness, because obviously intersectionality. So I needed to figure out what it was that I was saying. It's so funny now that Corona happened. Now everybody's wearing masks. So a lot of my arts, you will see that the women have masks on them. And I think what I was trying to comment on with that is that
I did not notice that. Go ahead. Yes.
They're different in every single
What
one.
year was this? It was before Corona. Yo. Go ahead.
So the reason why I decided to put masks on all of these women, and you'll notice that all of them look gorgeous. They're all, but in different Black ways. Some of them, it's like an old type of gorgeous where it's like the elongated ears, but like heavy beadwork, or very young with our kind of hairstyles, still with the beadwork, but always having that mask in it. Yeah. And the reason why I wanted to use the mask was I was trying to comment on the role of women within society. It's like, yes, we love looking at you. I would love to put you up on my wall, but just shut up.
Damn.
So I made the conscious effort to always put a mask on them. It's one of those like, nobody's trying to hear it. And I think a lot of my inspiration came from the writings of Bell Hooks. I don't know if you know this, but Bell, she always writes her name in lowercase, because that's how she's seen in the world. She's a Black woman. Oh, come through.
Yo, now that insight, the thoughts behind it, oh man, the way you explained it just blew my head. So we'll have the screenshots on the screen, but if you're listening, not watching, please just go check her out on Instagram. It is China _Maseko _art.
Yebo.
Go check it out. And let's get to this next one. Wendy Williams. The post is, as toxic as she was, nobody can replace the real Wendy Williams.
Come on.
Talk to me about it.
Come on. Okay, yes, Miss Wendy. Like, you know what, now? I love people who are, what's the word I'm looking for?
Straightforward.
Straightforward is not the word. What's this word? Ish, guys, the English data bundles.
Don't care a damn.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, she doesn't care
Doesn't
a damn.
care a damn.
She doesn't care. Like, and I don't think, that's the thing about her. I don't think she's doing it to, this is the word I was looking for, inflammatory people. I don't think she does it to be inflammatory. She's literally just being, she's a dick.
Yeah, exactly. And it's entertaining, so that's why you miss her so much.
I don't think anything, like, the reason why I love Wendy Williams now, I think, like, some people are really showing us the world. Like, if you look at how the world is right now, the way where Wendy started on radio and then where she got to on TV. Guys, let's be honest. There would be no fucking TMZ without no Wendy Williams.
Yeah.
She was doing that on radio before. Did you know the story of when Whitney Houston was at her height and Wendy was on radio and nobody knew how Wendy Williams looked. So Whitney Houston and her best friend waited outside the radio station to moor
Oh
Wendy.
yes, I heard that story.
Dude!
real legendary-ish. Yeah.
That's how you know
Original
that she was
Schwartzy.
inflammatory.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
Whitney Houston wanted to beat her ass.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
So that's how
And literally
honestly-
everybody is doing what she
And
did.
also, why you relate to her is that honesty, I guess.
Come through. Because that's the thing. Wendy says the things that we are embarrassed to say.
It's like, I don't want to hurt feelings. I don't want
Because
to
we're
ruffle
in,
feathers.
The
But you have to ruffle feathers with your art for it to make noise and, you know what I'm saying? Break through the surface.
that part.
Yeah.
And that's like, I've always been loved Wendy Williams. That like, you know what, she finally had the opportunity. I've got my own show. No one's going to tell me. This is my show. I'm going to say what I want to say. And like, yeah, she would always like say the wrong thing, but you always knew that she was being honest.
Yeah.
It wasn't like nobody fed this to her. There's nobody in her ear.
Nah.
She really does believe the things that she said.
All right, Joe, you officially survived. All up in your business. All up in your business. How was that? It was all good.
I love that.
Yeah, all right,
I
cool.
love that.
Good. I know that we all want to make a mark in the world. We want to
course.
leave something.
Of course.
What's your end goal as Nosipo China Maseko?
You know what? I've made a decision. I don't want to be famous.
Load shedding. Don't worry. Just keep talking. It's going to kick in about 10. Nah, keep going.
So, wait, what was the question? Load shedding messed me up.
What's your end goal? What's the end
The
goal?
end goal. So, okay, the end goal for me is to be happy. I know it's messed up to just say something that's simple, but we're living in a place where everybody's fucking unhappy, bro.
Yeah.
People are dealing with anxiety and depression, and we're having like our role models kill themselves, dude. Ricky Rick.
Dude,
It
I
hurt
didn't
me.
expect that to hurt me as much as
It hurt me.
it did.
It hurt me.
Yeah,
For
it's
me,
super sad. Yeah,
So that's important to me.
Yeah.
Uti, no matter where creativity takes me, wow. Am I happy? Am I happy? Because I think that like, especially with like a personality like mine, I have noticed it. Yeah, and it's something that I'm working on. Is like when I'm not in a good mood, nobody's in a good mood. It's like I feed it into
there
the
spectrums?
room.
The spectrums are.
Literally,
With that big of a personality, it's hard to hide it, huh? I guess, yeah.
Literally. So I'm very conscious of that. Of like, yeah. Make sure you're happy with yourself and also not be pretending. Don't like pretend to be happy just because Yeah. The plan is to be happy.
Dope. Any final words for the From A to Z listeners? Any aspiring copywriters, conceptual copywriters, creatives in general out there? Young Chinas
Yeah.
from Boksburg right now watching this, maybe.
Yeah. To all the youngins, especially black, young, female, but everybody, stay true. Find what the North Star is and stay true to that. Because then you'll always be happy with yourself if you always stay true. Yeah. And let's get the land.
You heard it here first. Stay true to yourself. there's always something around the corner for you. Failures don't,
Hell no.
make or break you. This has been another episode of the From A to Z podcast. China, thank you so much for joining me as my
pleasure.
distinguished guest.
Hey, this is amazing. I love the show, dude.
I appreciate it. Everybody out there, make sure to go like, comment, subscribe, share, make the ting go boom. From A to Z, we out.
From A to Z, it's plain to see. This podcast is about people in my industry. Writers, designers, social media managers. Don't forget the data miners. HRPR, find out who they are and how they made it this far. From A to Z, talk about your family, talk about the goals you reach, talk about the plans you see. Let's get it. Welcome aboard. I'm your host, PK Mugweni, and this is the From A to Z podcast.